Clarence affirmative action Moneybag Thomas. The news again, why? Because more rich people have been exposed as funding certain things connected to the Supreme Court justice. Let's put up the picture full mass of the very happy couple. You see, if you had individuals paying all your bills, you would have that exact look on your face right there. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas has accepted lavish gifts over the years, including the cost of his wedding reception. A New York Times investigation now reveals. Scrutiny of Thomas has increased since an April 2023 ProPublica report detailed the relationship between the justice and billionaire GOP donor Harlan Crow, who bought property from Thomas in an undisclosed deal in 2014. Crow also paid for private school tuition for a young relative of Thomas that Thomas was raising, and treated Thomas and his wife to vacations on his luxury yacht. None of this stuff got reported. In its latest report, the Times detailed lavish gifts, some of which predate Thomas's time on the Supreme Court. I'm going to explain why that's important soon. In the mid-1980s, when Thomas was chairperson of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, a buddy paid for a Bahamas vacation for him and an unnamed girlfriend. The ex-girlfriend snitched. Let's put him up. He's been on this show multiple times. He's actually a decent individual, contrary to his absolutely insane politics. He's a good friend of Clarence Thomas. So another friend, a conservative commentator, Armstrong Williams, told the paper that he paid for the reception at the wedding of Thomas to his wife, Virginia, in 1987. The Times report largely focuses on Thomas's embrace by the Horatio Alger Association of Distinguished Americans, which funds what? Needs-based scholarships and counts among its members the ultra wealthy and ultra powerful. Thomas became a member of the association soon after he joined the Supreme Court in 1991. Now you're looking at a picture of when Armstrong Williams was on the bullpen. Just for the record, Armstrong has never paid for any of my trips nor the upcoming wedding that I may have one day. He has not offered. Through his friendship, unbelievable, forged with the wealthy, Thomas has accessed a lifestyle of lavish parties, vacations, VIP tickets, sports events. The paper reported. It goes into much detail. And though it's linked to Thomas, the association gained unique access to the court itself for its ceremonies, a privilege the association touts in its fundraising, the paper said. Thomas declined to respond to the paper's detailed request for comment. Thomas declined to respond to paper's detailed request for comment after the LA Times reported on a series of gifts in 2004, including plane flights, expensive cigars, a silver buckle, and rawhide coat. Thomas stopped making gifts from people he considered friends public. This was on the advice of, quote, colleagues and others in the judiciary, the New York Times reported. So let me explain some things here. The last statement highlights the reality of, let's just say, non-transparency at the highest level of governance. Instead of being more transparent, when the LA Times did that report a few years ago, the response from Clarence Thomas was to become less transparent, to tell you less information about his possible, let's just say, inappropriate entanglements, to be less transparent. The fact that he became a member of this elite organization a few years before becoming a Supreme Court justice gives you an idea that he was possibly compromised then. And that compromise continued throughout his judiciary appointment and today. Why is it that no one can point to a clear violation of the rule? Because they didn't have any. Technically, they still don't. Please keep in mind, if a lobbyist, somebody we consider to be at the, let's just say, low totem of the chain here of political operators, a lobbyist has a higher ethical standard than a US Supreme Court justice. A lobbyist has to report tickets, gifts, VIP events, anything of value. A lobbyist is bound by law to report it. Every judge that sits on a bench, from traffic court to a state Supreme Court, must adhere to an ethical guideline of judicial conduct, except for members of the United States Supreme Court. These things are not normative in a democracy, but they are in a dictatorship. We have these elements of checks and balances, as we say. We learned this in high school, some of us before. But those checks and balances mean nothing when there's no ability to enforce them. And that's exactly what you have currently in the US Supreme Court. All right, Jeff, thoughts here.
Before I get to what I gotta say, I wanna mention this. Justice Samuel Alito got an undisclosed luxury trip he took in 2008 with hedge fund billionaire Paul Singer. Just in case a political pundit or conservative politician says two black men addressing Justice Thomas is only because he's a black conservative. It's among the many things we don't like about him, including the rawhide coat, but not the only thing.
It was
anyway, so we're talking about billionaires, businessmen, a real estate developer, captains of industry. They didn't get rich by not getting returns on their investment. So we gotta ask ourselves, what is Harlan Crow getting back from all these gifts he's getting Justice Thomas? Gotta be something. He's just not passing out money and not getting it back. That's not the nature of a billionaire. That's all I wanna know. Please let me know what he's getting back, because it kind of seems like some of these Supreme Court decisions may be swayed one way or another by the money.
Yeah, and keep in mind, you made a great point. These individuals operate based on what's called an ROI standard. ROI simply means return on investment. Return on investment standard is how they operate. If you think they give a bunch of money and get nothing in return, well, that's exactly what they would like you to believe.